Good morning, friends. It's a beautiful day out here at Montaña de Oro State Park. Got some cloud layer, a little bit of blue skies. Good morning, good morning. Beautiful skies today. We're here at Montaña de Oro State Park, walking along the bluff trail, the southern end of the bluff trail. Just across from Coon Creek. It's a perfect temperature for a hike today. It's probably 65, maybe up to 68 degrees right now. Slight breeze, a little bit of cloud layer. You can see the blue skies peeking through. Quite a lot of wildlife sounds out, so I'll try to be quiet so you can actually hear them. Get the full experience. The wind going through the coyote brush. Got some orange bush monkey flower here. Beautiful flower. When in bloom, it just makes all these hills behind just pop with an orange color. You can see the heavy clouds there sitting on that mountain. Got some conifers at the top of that peak even. We're right at the very southern edge of Montaña de Oro State Park. Orange bush monkey flower there. You can imagine when both those and the California poppies are in bloom, why this park actually got its name. Montaña de Oro means mountains, or a mountain of gold. So you can imagine the hills just covered in orange and yellow. During the springtime, it's so pretty. We're a little bit past that. We might actually see a couple poppies. Lots of bird sounds. Good morning.
Hi.
Hello. There's a lot of orange bush monkey flower up here. So beautiful. These little tubular flowers. Very popular with the pollinators. You can see it extends pretty far actually on both sides. See up ahead we've got a little cove we're walking towards. Something to look forward to. Although it's very beautiful here as well. Coming up to the first bridge of this hike. And if you ever come to pretty much anywhere in Montaña de Oro State Park, you always want to make sure to keep your eyes on the trail, which makes doing a live stream while hiking pretty tricky. But there's a lot of rattlesnakes out here in Montaña de Oro State Park. And they're actually a different kind of rattlesnake. I forget the exact name of them. And if you're interested, I can make sure to find out. But there are lots of little cubbies. This is one of them that I've seen them at. Lots of little cubbies where they like to hang out. And rattlesnakes, these rattlesnakes here are not nearly as aggressive as some others further inland and in the desert and whatnot. And rattlesnakes in general are actually extremely important for the ecosystem. But definitely just being mindful, and this goes with all wildlife, just being mindful of their space, the fact that we're entering their living room essentially. If you don't startle them or pose to be any threat, they have absolutely no reason to be defensive. It's our second bridge. Absolutely beautiful day. There's such a nice breeze right now. Oh, we've got some poppies. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't know if we'd come across any poppies since we're right at the very tail end of the season. You can see it's pretty dry. For those of you in California, you know it hasn't been the best rain year. Didn't have a whole lot of rain this last winter. Some more poppies. Lots of coastal sage here. For those of you who watch these live streams, know it's one of my favorite smells. the coastal sage. It kind of has a mixture of like a earthy, herbally mint. Looks like that blue sky is gonna peek through later on today. This cloud cover will probably burn off. Again, you can see these hills behind me. I don't know if you can even catch it through the camera. There's quite a bit of orange from that orange bush monkey flower just showing through the vegetation. Of course, we've got some mustard here. Not always welcome, as it is pretty invasive. You can see it on both sides of the trail here. And the sun is peeking through. I think it will definitely be burning off soon. So again, we're here at Montaña de Oro State Park, hiking along the Bluff Trail, and we're on the very southern edge of the state park. It's actually just on the other side here. You can see there's a cove right here, which we'll actually go see in just a bit. You can actually see someone hiking just right there. They're actually on the other side of that boundary. That property there is not part of the state park, but there is a hiking trail there called Point Buchon. Point Buchon is also the name, really quick, before I get too sidetracked, got ourselves a little white-crowned sparrow. Looks like they're collecting some nesting materials. Oh, we've got, I believe this is a grosbeak. Let's see if I can get them on the camera for you. They're very vivid in color. They have orange and black and white. Sure if I'll be able to get him. I think he's gone right in the bush. So as I was saying, Point Buchon is a lovely hike on the other side here. We can hike Point Buchon. It's only accessible, I believe, twice a week though. And it may have changed over the past year, but I believe it's accessible. I mean, it must be Mondays since I see people there. Those could be scientists though. I could have sworn it was Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but if you are interested, you can definitely check out Point Buchon. Just a little Google search and find out when you can access that hike. But that's the same name as the MPA that we'll be checking out here. So these waters out here, this is the Point Buchon Marine Protected Area. And it's absolutely gorgeous out here. If you ever get the chance to check out this part of the Central Coast, we've got a little rabbit going through. If you ever get a chance to check out the Central Coast, this is a great spot. Not only Montaña de Oro State Park, but all along this point all the way south. If we were to keep traveling south by boat, we would run into Port San Luis. So some of you might be familiar with Avila Beach, Pismo, Shell Beach. That's just south of here. And it's quite a ways. If you were to get there by car, you would have to go much further inland to the town of San Luis Obispo. So you can imagine what this space was like when people first started inhabiting this area. Even up until the early 1900s, there really wasn't much going on here. And these canyons, these little canyons throughout here, this one here, I believe, I'm blanking on the name of it, but that's the Coon Creek Trail that actually heads that way. And all along these canyons and these mountains, there were ranches that speckled through the area. Different families who've lived in this area for 100, 150 years. And this was an extremely remote area. Really hard to get to, really hard to leave. So there's a lot of neat history here at Montaña de Oro State Park. You can see that beautiful coastline here. The mountains in the distance, enshrouded in clouds. It's going to get a little windy in just a moment, so bear with me. Got some pretty big swell out there actually. You can see that rolling in. Check out this coastline. Speckled caves along the bluffs. So this is a super wild coastline. Imagine if you're a diver, if you like to envision what's under the waves, what the ecosystem actually looks like out there in the ocean. This is a super unique habitat. Super biodiverse, lots of different life living here, which in turn leads to a healthier habitat, a healthier ecosystem overall. So again, this is known as the Point Buchon Marine Protected Area. Marine protected areas, again, are just like underwater parks. So there are spaces in the ocean set aside for protection, not only for the wildlife and the animals to thrive, but that includes these intertidal zones as well. These rocks here are homes to several different animals. with extremely harsh conditions, constantly being splashed by waves. At low tide, they're constantly exposed to not only predators, but sometimes lots of sunlight. So having this marine protected area here, a space where these animals can thrive, is super important. So once these ecosystems start to decline, it's really hard to bring them back up. But these marine protected areas, they kind of serve like a band-aid. It kind of halts any detrimental situations and helps to boost production of life within that area. And of course, not all detrimental situations, because unfortunately marine protected areas can't actually protect the ocean from things like pollution and trash. And that's where we can step in and make a difference, simply by choosing reusable plastics, declining single-use plastics. For those of you bird nerds out there, I see some pigeon guillemots. I have no idea if I can get them on the camera because they're so tiny. You can see these two little tiny birds hanging out in the waves there. Black birds with a white wing. They're both facing to the left. I don't know if that helps you be able to see them. These guys are so fun to see though. They have a neat call. You can see that one of them just put their wings out. Might even be able to see some marine mammals while we're up here. Sometimes we get to see sea otters back here. There's quite a few pigeon guillemots. I'm just seeing your chats now. Good morning, Omar. You see somebody hiking there. I believe you're referring to when I was pointing to the other end, and there were some individuals hiking. We've got some brown pelicans here. Here's our friends, the western gull. Such a beautiful day on the coast. You can imagine being a little intertidal creature living on this rock and dealing with that harsh environment. These are super adaptive, really strong animals. At high tide, being completely submerged or splashed. And at low tide, being completely exposed. Another thing we can 100 miles away from where you live. So that can be quite a shock for these little animals. So just remembering that we're in their space. These are our wild neighbors, and just like any neighborhood, showing some respect. Of the whole view here. This is to the north. You can see those mountains in the far distance. That's towards the town of Cayucas, stretching out towards the Harmony Headlands. As I scan to the south, you can see that sky. By boat this way, we would run into Port San Luis, which is near the town of Avila and Pismo. Got these beautiful hills to the east of us. Montaña de Oro is definitely known for some really fantastic hiking. On the bluff trail, like the one we just did, which extends much further than this, you can do about a 5K loop, about 3 miles. But there's also a lot of incline as well. So different peaks to hike, like Valencia Peak, Hazard Peak, Oates Peak. Lots of wonderful hiking here. And of course you have this wild, rugged coast too. Such a beautiful park. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. For another Marine Protected Area Monday, or MPA Monday. Let's see, it's every Monday celebrating Marine Protected Areas on Mondays for MPA Monday. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful tour of Montaña de Oro State Park, Bluff Trail, and this beautiful Buchon Marine Protected